Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you. You know, we all get a little, take ownership and a little pride in our church, don't we, sometimes? These two women were having a conversation about their pastors and how good their pastors were. The first one said, "My pastor is so good. He can take a single topic and preach for an entire hour." The other woman said, "Well, my pastor is so good, he can preach for an entire hour with no point whatsoever." That takes skill. That's some preaching right there. I'm not going to do that. So, we have enough former Methodists in here. Like, I can feel the energy shift when we hit 12 o'clock. It's like, for those of you who don't know, we plan on a 70-minute service. So Methodists, just hold on for 10 more minutes. We're going to be all right. And sometimes people don't feel. There's another story. Barbara Brown Taylor was speaking at an African-American church, and she's an amazing author and speaker. And she said, "I have to tell you all that I'm Episcopalian. I give 20-minute sermons. But if you don't feel sufficiently fed and knowing your tradition, just let me know and I'll do it again." So I'm going to try and give you about 20 to 23 minutes of pure D wisdom. How's that? Talking today, this is the first Sunday of April. I don't know how that keeps happening. At the beginning of every month, I go, really? You think I would get used to it by now, but it seems to be happening more and more quickly. But I'm doing a series this whole month on transformation, putting Easter right in the center of that. It's the metaphysics of the Easter story are all about my transformation, your transformation, dying to the former lesser way of being resurrected into new and more profoundly beautiful experience of the spiritual life. That's what it really is about. But that's 2 weeks from today. Let me tell you what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about from glory unto glory. And I want to share with you, this is the writing of St. Paul. Sometimes, Paul irritates me. And sometimes there's this mystical place he drops into in his letters to those early gatherings, early communities of believers. And this is one of those, very profound. This is from 1 Corinthians 3. "Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And we all, with unveiled faces, contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from God, who is the Spirit." That's deep. What he's saying here is that God is beyond name, beyond form, beyond image. And this is a deep tradition in Judaism. It was against the Big Ten to make a graven image of God. And the reason for that is not that it's like, I grew up this thing like idol worship. That's something those heathens over there do, and it's bad, it's sinful, it's evil. No, the deep wisdom of that is that God is infinite. You can't create a picture that captures God. And that's what Paul is speaking of here, that the Lord, Elohim, is a spirit, not physical, not tangible in that way, but everywhere present. But then the next part he says, "But we, with unveiled faces." What does that mean? It's like I was trying to bring to us in the meditation. When we drop the false front, when we let the ego take a day off and we show up humbly and openly to life, to God. We come as all that we are and all that we are not. We bring that, and then we contemplate the Lord's glory, it says. What that means is true reality. We simply sit in the presence of the truth. That's what this teaching is all about. This movement, unity, is designed to give us these ancient wisdom teachings in a new way. We are ancient wisdom and new thought. That God is present everywhere. The Lord is a spirit. The spirit of life, that which is formless and form, all of it contained in the life of God. And we're a part of that. And when we bring ourselves to this truth, and I love that it just has the word contemplate, behold, sit with it, be in this presence of oneness, what happens is we are transformed. And this, I love it, says we are being transformed into God's image with ever increasing glory, which comes from God, who is a spirit. In the King James, it says, from glory unto glory. I wasn't taught that. I'm sure we read those Bible verses when I was a kid, but I was taught that I had to be good and say the right prayer or I was going to go to the bad place forever. That's the message I got from Christianity. This is a totally different understanding of reality. What Paul is saying here is this mystical awareness that if I can simply bring who I am and contemplate ultimate reality, which is another name for God, then I will be transformed into that, which is what I am, with ever increasing glory. Glory is the word, it simply means the felt and experienced presence of God. In Hebrew, it's Shekinah. Was often sold to be like a smoke or a fog or a cloud of light was the symbol for this Shekinah glory of God. But what it's saying is that if we can just get real, just drop all the I ought to be or I'm not enough, and believe me, most of our false beliefs center around those two words, not enough. I'm not something enough, and therefore I am disqualified from all that good stuff you preach about on Sunday, Michael. Whatever yours is, I'm not young enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not well enough, whatever that is, it's BS. It's your belief system. That joke always gets a laugh. I've done it dozens of times, it always works. It's not true, it's just something you believed. You've inherited from your family, from the culture, from your own experience, but it's not true. Paul tells you the truth. You bring yourself to God and you will be transformed into who you truly are. The indwelling Christ will show up. Your thoughts will be different. Your words will be different. Your actions will be different. You will be different. But you have to come. You have to contemplate. So we're talking today about transformation. This whole month we're going to be talking about transformation. Oh, sometimes I'd rather just eat ice cream. My ego just wants nothing but significance and comfort. That's all my ego wants me to have. Just, I want people to know I'm really something special, but I don't want to do anything about it. I just want to sit here, But there is work in transformation. There are tools. There are practices. And that's the thing I love about unity as well. We don't just tell you this. We actually, here are some things you might try. Heard of meditation? Here are some things you might try. Affirmative prayer. Sacred service. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see all of our volunteers. That is a spiritual practice for us. That is us living into that glory of God. So there are two schools of thought about the nature of evolution through time. One is that it's just linear time. This is the dualistic worldview that there was a beginning. In the beginning, God created. Then all this stuff happens, and then it's over. And then in the Eastern thought, this time is usually circular, like the great yugas of time, 100,000-year calendars, but then it comes back to the beginning. I don't think they're either right. I think, how's that? I'm just going to be a little arrogant. My ego's going to have a moment. I think that Judaism, Christianity, all that, nope. Hinduism, nope, not that either. Well, I'm kidding. I don't really know. But some teachers say that it's not a straight line or a circle, but it's a spiral. Can we see this image? That this is the nature of evolution. It is both a circle and a line. You'll see that there are, do you know what this is? This is a nautilus shell. This is something that nature actually creates and that lives. This is the house for the nautilus. And it starts off in that very tiny little center space. That's where it lives, and its body fills that. And then it jets around and eats and lives. And then as it grows, it begins to protect itself. It needs a bigger chamber, so it builds the next one and the next one and the next one. And you sacred geometry buffs know more about this than I do, but there's something called the golden ratio, which is represented in nature in this form and other places in nature. This is who we are. That we are here to live and express and experience and heal and grow. And so it's not enough to just sit around and eat ice cream. We actually do need to do the work of healing our false beliefs and become more and become bigger. And we'll need a new spiritual chamber, a new conscious awareness of who we are so that we can live from that truth, not who we thought we were when we were 15 years old. So this is our work. I want you to hold this image in your heart and in your mind. I actually gave a talk on the Nautilus years and years ago on a Wednesday night, and someone from the community gave me a beautiful little ceramic Nautilus shell, which I keep in my home to remind me. There's something we studied in Prosperity Plus class, the law of sacrifice. It comes from the book by Raymond Hollowell on working with the law. And that's a very old dualistic Christian way that I've got to sacrifice. Oh, poor me. It's not the way we take it up in metaphysics, that I sacrifice the lesser so that I may experience the greater. And in this teaching, in this work, we are never asked to sacrifice the greater for the lesser. It only works the other way. We only always ever grow forward, higher, deeper. Ralph Waldo Emerson said this: "We cannot let our angels go. We do not see that they only go out that our archangels may come in." Do you see what he's talking about? It's our comfort circle, our zone of comfort. I know this is all I'm going to be because I know it. I'm comfortable here. And it's an angel to us, whatever it is. That job, and I'm not talking to any of the Unity Fusion staffers, you stay right here. But everybody else, whatever our comfort is, this is as big as I'm going to get. I know this. But you can feel when something is asking you to step into the greater. And so what Emerson is telling us is we don't want to let that angel go. Even that relationship that has served us well for many years, but it's not serving us. Something has to shift. I'm not saying you have to end the relationship, but you might need to shift the way you are in that relationship because you're being called to a higher and greater. So we let our angels go, that our archangels may come in, that there is a greater yet to be for you. It's something, and this is the promise of spiritual transformation, that when we let go, new comes in if we have our eyes contemplating the glory of the Lord. If our focus is on the spiritual truth of who we are being, then we will be reshaped, reformed into a truer identity. And that is not always pretty or easy or simple. Oh, how many of you have been through a little transformation and survived to tell the tale? You know what I'm talking about. I've talked a lot about my recovery journey from alcoholism. Ugly, difficult, painful work that had to be done to get me out of that smaller chamber into something that was a little bit bigger and a little bit easier for my soul. And it required me to change so many of my behaviors and my thoughts and my words. And it took time and was worth every minute. And here's the other thing I want to tell you. I have a thing I say about myself that I probably won't beat you in a sprint, but I'll outlast you in a marathon. I don't quit. I don't know where I picked that up. I don't know if it was internalized, but I used to quit a lot, so I guess I must have learned it somewhere. But now it feels like my nature. I just stay right here, contemplating the Lord's glory. It's sure looking like a mess, but I'm going to stay right here. Because I have learned that if I stay right here with it, something's going to shift. Something new is going to be revealed. It's like stepping off the cliff and one of two things is going to happen. That something will catch us or we will grow wings. I've done a few of those. Sometimes it doesn't look like either of those things is going to happen for a minute. And it does. It always does. Always. 100% of the time. And that's true for me and it's true for you. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You have survived 100% of your transformation experiences so far. Congratulations. Let's give ourselves some love and appreciation. You've done it. And you're not done. There's more. There's the now. There's the new chapter that is calling to you. A friend of mine talks about this idea. Oh, so here's the truth of it. Here's what I want you to know. We say in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for the good of them that love God and are called according to his purpose. Isn't that nice? All things work together for the good of them that love God and are called according to a purpose. This is a restating of the same truth. Loving God is getting in right relationship with ultimate reality. Aligning ourselves with the truth. That's what loving God means. It doesn't mean like we're here, this lowly servant worshiping a far-off deity who gets angry at us. That's not loving God. Loving God is being in truth, being in alignment, and staying there. But it says, if you love God, if you stay there, then something's going to happen. And my friend Kathy Young, many of you know her, she's done some work with our board and our leadership and our staff. And there's I don't think it's original to her, but she's the one that introduced it to me, like somebody who's like mucking out a huge pile of manure in a stable, going, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. You know? But this is the spiritual truth. If that image doesn't work for you, find another. But here is the spiritual truth. You can simply say, no matter how difficult the thing is that you're going through in your transformation experience, you simply say this: good must come from this. Good must come from this. And then you stay right there with that truth. You stay with it. Good must come from this. And so we do not shy away from talking about living spiritually with cancer. Thank you, Jaime and Carolyn, for bringing that to us now. Or talking about the reality of the suicide in families and mental health. These are the things that we deal with on this earth school. And you stay right here. Good must come from this for me and for those I love. And watch what happens. Just watch what happens. As I said, to love God means to align ourselves with truth, with ultimate reality. It means getting beyond your ego's desire for comfort and significance, surrendering to the true greatness within you of your oneness with God. And this means resisting nothing. I say it all the time, Michael Beckwith's definition of, what pain is. There are 4 kinds of pain in this world: resistance, 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 and resistance. Resisting it, what is. Because what is for you. Byron Katie says this, that nothing is happening to you, everything is happening for you. And in unity, we would also say, and everything is happening through you. The good of who you are and what you're becoming is happening through you. Our own growth and freedom are wonderful. But there's a next stage too, and that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to begin my sermon. Now here's my topic. My last point is this. There comes a point in our evolution, in our becoming, we get to a chamber where we are so big that we must begin to serve others. It's just natural. I've gotten enough freedom. My prosperity is working enough. My health is working enough that I'm living from the overflow, and I've got to give something back. It's not obligation. It's not guilt-induced. We don't do guilt in unity very often. Only on rare occasions that I feel like it's really going to help me. No, we really don't. The famous and beautiful Hindu poet Rabindranath Tagore, he said, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and found that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy." If you really want to experience the fullness of God's grace and blessing, get out of your own way and help somebody. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't, and you're not going to be perfect, ever. And in case you didn't know that bad news before this moment, I'm sorry. You're never going to be finished growing and healing. Did you not hear the word infinite? God is infinite. We will be forever revealing the truth of who we are in God forever. Got quiet. I know some of you are looking to graduate next year. Sorry. So I want to end with a little story about this idea of service, and then we're going to have an honoring of all of our volunteers. This story comes from that same book that we've been using in Prosperity Plus, Raymond Hollowell's Working with the Law. And I researched it. It's not 100% factual, but I don't care. It's a really good story. It's based on truth. We'll say that. Based on actual facts. Abraham Lincoln is a hero of mine. I don't know if it was a spiritual hero, but just his story is remarkable. Born to semi-illiterate parents, destitute, poor, born in southern Kentucky, and then kind of moved around just trying to find a place to live. They were just subsistence people. And he said that he went to school a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. But he said he learned enough. He could read and he could write, and he could do cipher to the 3. I don't know what that means, but I think some math is what he was talking about. His mother died when he was 9 years old. He'd already lost his younger brother. It was just he and his sister and their dad, and she was always kind of sickly, and they were in a little cabin. I think they were still maybe in Indiana at this point. But the last words she said to him, she put her hands on his face, and she said, "Be good to one another. Be good to one another." And he said that for the rest of his life, those words guided every action, every decision that he took. So we are here to be good to one another. You probably know the story of his failed political attempts. He lost every election that he tried out for at first. The great Lincoln-Douglas debate, it's been published as a great book. They were both incredible debaters. He lost that Senate election. But that was the thing that propelled him into the awareness of what a good speaker he was. And the Honest Abe thing, that's real. The people, when he was a lawyer in Illinois, that was the thing, and he did well. He became I don't know where exactly he got his education, but he did. He became a lawyer and was respected, one of the preeminent lawyers in his day. And everyone said he was an honest lawyer, We have some in this church, we do. That's not an unusual thing. But he was an honest man, and people knew that about him. Always in his integrity. In the midst of the trial of his work and his life, in the middle of the Civil War, this country being wrenched apart, and he was on the side of be good to one another. That what was being done to our African-American brothers and sisters enslaved wrongfully, it can't stand. And he gave everything to this battle to free and to emancipate the slaves and to end slavery. He gave everything to it. The battle, the war, the stories of the horror of that war, just incredible. Hollowell in his book talks about a single story. It was famous in his day. It was later made into a silent movie. And it's about William Scott. William Scott was a corporal in the Union Army, and he fell asleep while on sentry duty. This was a big deal. He was court-martialed and sentenced to die in front of a firing squad. The truth came about in his trial that he fell asleep because he was filling in for his friend who was sick, and he did a double shift of sentry duty. Be good to one another. And somehow his commanding officers knew he was a good man, and this wasn't just. That he was trying to do the right thing. Even though it was the military law, it was not right. And so they began to circulate this story in hopes of finding some reprieve for William Scott, who had made a mistake, no doubt about that. And it could have been horrible if something had happened while he was asleep on sentry duty. But he was a good person who made a mistake, and he was worthy. The story circulated far and wide, became famous, and it got all the way to President Lincoln's desk. There's some debate in the story about whether or not Lincoln actually ever knew of it. And Carl Sandburg, the great American poet, had researched and said, no, Lincoln knew nothing about this. But in the 90s, new letters emerged. Lincoln was personally involved. Now, the way that Hollowell tells the story is this, that Lincoln came to the camp and came in to the brig. Is that what they call it on a boat? What do they call it in the Army? It doesn't matter. The jail. And he met William Scott, and he began to talk with him, and he asked him about his life in Vermont, the farm he grew up on, his parents. He asked him about his mother. And William Scott brought out a picture of his mother. And Scott later said, why was he asking about this? I was about to die the next day. But he was so kind and so with me, so present. That finally, at the end of the conversation, William Scott said, sir, thank you for your kindness. I only ask one favor, that it not be my friends who are in that firing squad. I don't want them to see this happen. I don't want them to think it might have been their bullet that took my life. And he said, Lincoln wheeled about and said, what are you talking about? You are not to die tomorrow. You are pardoned. But there is a debt you owe, and I expect it to be paid. And William Scott, just overcome with joy and relief, said, I will pay anything. I don't have any money, but I will get my friends and we will gather money. We'll mortgage my farm. We will find the way to repay you. And Lincoln said, no. The debt to be paid cannot be paid by anyone but you. And the debt is simply this, that every time you are called upon to perform your duty, you step up. You never say no to your duty. You always do what you are called to do with all that you are. He said, on the last day of your life, in your last breath, you will be able to tell me, I did what was right. You do that, and this price is paid in full. Sacrificing the lesser for the greater. This story moves me because I have certainly not always lived up to my responsibilities. I have certainly disappointed others by my actions and inactions. I have failed many times. And I never had a president of the United States visit me in a cell, but I have been given this opportunity to have a second chance again and again. Second and third and 50th. Try again, Michael. Try again. Stay here. Good must come from this. And so William Scott lived the rest of his life in grateful service to this country in a time of great wound and great healing. And today we are here to celebrate people who have given their time and their talents in service to this community. I feel like there should be something else right here, but I think I'm done preaching. Did I get it all in there? Thank you all for listening. It is time to honor our volunteers. Please welcome our Sacred Service Ministry Director, Cindy Klein, to the stage, and I'm going to ask the Unity of Houston staff to join me on stage as well.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning. As our staff comes up on the stage this morning, I just want to say, Reverend Michael, thank you for that powerful message. Oh my gosh, what a great message this morning. Thank you. Happy Volunteer Acknowledgement and Celebration Sunday, everyone. Our staff is assembled on the stage this morning to show you our tremendous gratitude and our deep love for the people who give so unconditionally here at this ministry. For the people that roll up their sleeves and say yes to do whatever it takes to make Unity of Houston the beacon of love and light that it is. To our board of directors, we thank you for your time and your dedication to ensure the smooth running and success of this ministry. To our nominating committee, thanks to your due diligence, we have a board that does run in harmony and excellence. To our finance committee, we thank you for your expertise and your knowledge and your giving of your time. Unity in the community, we thank you. You give of yourselves during the heat, during the rain, during freezing temperatures. You give of yourself to make sure that the hungry in this city are fed. You give of yourself at the Beacon Homeless Shelter. You make such a difference, a wonderful difference in the children and the families that pilgrim at the Pilgrim School, thank you so much for what you do and your efforts. To our campus repair and renewal and our landscape team, we thank you for spending your weekends renovating our property, our campus, beautifying the property so that we can be proud of the spiritual community we call Unity of Houston. To our animal kinship ministry, it is because of your efforts that thousands of pounds of food are delivered to animals each month so that the, I'm trying to say not disadvantaged, but those that are in need are able to feed their pets and feed themselves as well. To our Spanish language ministry, because of your efforts, you serve weekly with such love and joy in your hearts. You've created a safe place for our brothers and sisters to worship and pray and commune with music. Unity prayer partners who you call once a month to the people in this congregation that are needing prayer and hope, as you do right here on Sunday mornings for our congregation. Also to our pastoral care team, who comforts and ministers those that are facing illness or surgery. You give people hope during those times. To our licensed Unity teachers, we thank you for teaching the classes and for participating in our holiday services, and for the voice of inspiration, the number that people call for hope and for prayer. Our office angels, where are our office angels this morning? Raise your hand. Our office angels, thank you so much for coming in during the week and helping our staff with the numerous projects that we have. You know we couldn't do it without you. Our Information Center volunteer, you are like the post office. You are here always. Thank you so much for showing up. Healing the Heart of America, you help to educate and heal misconceptions that can divide us by arranging programs and speakers that help us all to know that we are one. To our survivors of suicide, thank you for your comfort and your healing. To our cancer support group, thank you for providing hope. To our bookstore volunteers, you create a sacred space for learning and fun and fellowship. Our safety team for over the past 2 years who's pored over statistics to learn how to best keep this community safe from COVID. Our Sunday school with adults, you never gave up on providing fellowship, education, and speakers. Our Biblical Powers Sunday class, you also have the spirit of determination. No matter what the outer circumstances, you continued with classes. Spirit group host, you are the glue that makes it possible for us to commune, even when we can't meet in person. Thank you so much. Ushers, greeters, assistant service coordinators, special event ushers and greeters, hospitality team, make it possible for us to worship in person on Sundays. And during events, you know we couldn't do it without you. Youth and family ministry volunteers, you spend time during your week preparing your lessons. And then you're here on Sunday mornings teaching our children, helping them learn that they're never alone and that they can do anything. They can do anything in this life experience. To our blood drive team, Unity of Houston is recognized annually for our efforts for blood drive contributions. You are saving lives. Our Unity choir, oh my goodness, you've soothed our souls with your music. And it sure has not been an easy one, has it? It hasn't been easy over these past few years. Thank you. Your commitment is so heartwarming and so comforting. To our media team volunteers and our Zoom moderators, thanks to you, our message is global. Wednesday Night Satsang team, you make that service possible. To our photographers, thank you for documenting the life of this ministry. To our art gallery volunteers, thank you for bringing such beauty to our campus. And to our volunteers who've given of their time and talents who are not on a specific team, for our Leaving a Legacy workshop, our staff trainings, marketing. Thank you to those who donated, curated, and hung the art in the chapel in the hallways. It is because of you, it is because of all of you, that we are Unity of Houston. It is because of you that we make a positive, powerful difference in this community, in our city, and in the world. If you volunteered in any capacity this past year, please stand and let us give you our love and acknowledgement. Please stand, volunteers.
I'm going to ask the rest of us to extend our hands in love and appreciation with our volunteers as we sing. And we are grateful, grateful for all you do and all you give and everything you are. And we are grateful, grateful for all you do and all you give and everything you are. We love you.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.